All right, mail. I know it sounds like a boring topic, but this is actually one of the most important forms of communication. Now that email and text and all that comes along, but people still get important documents in through the mail. And so one topic that always comes up at the end of a transaction is how do I get my mailbox, or where are my mailbox keys, or how do I find out where the mailbox is at? And so these are all questions that I hear every time we close. And so rather than just making something up, I just went straight to the horse's mouth. And we've got an interview here with a 33-year veteran of our postal service, Mr. Leslie Hunt. And he breaks down everything from what you should do before you move, after you move, and then if you're having trouble, getting your mail and things get shuffled around, he lets you know exactly what to do there as well. So I think you're really gonna like this interview, so listen up. All right, everybody. So I am here with Mr. Leslie Hunt. He is a veteran of the United States Postal Service. And the reason why I wanted to bring him on is because there are always a lot of questions whenever folks go and they purchase a home, or even if they actually move into a rental property. It's like, well, how do I get my mail? I mean, that's like actually pretty important because, people are communicating through you with you through the mail. And if you can't get your mail, or you're getting the last person's mail that used to live at the house and all that, it can cause a lot of confusion and then also a lot of frustration as well. So I have Mr. Hunt on here with me. If you can just give like a little bit of your background, how long you've been working with the post office and the postal service, and then once somebody comes in, they purchase a home, what should be the next steps that they should take?
Okay, well, thanks, Jacobe. I appreciate you doing this, taking the time to do this. I'm a veteran postal service. I've been a letter carrier for 33 years here in Midland. So I've been around quite a while, seen about everything that can be seen, I think, with this postal service. Enjoyed every bit of it. It's a great job. I enjoy visiting with people. Customer service is very important to me. I love to serve customers, so it's been a good career for me, and it's really fit me well. So going back to your original question, the first thing you probably need to do is when you move into a new home is, first of all, make sure you have the address right. Sometimes, you get the numbers back, Drive, Avenue, make sure that's all correct when you move into that new home. And you're going to want to fill out a change of address form from the Postal Service. And you can do that two ways. You can do that online, go to usps.com and walk through their website, and you can fill that out. It's very seamless, very simple. Or you can actually fill out a hard copy, and I did not bring one with me today, but you can go to the post office and get a hard copy of that change of address card, fill that out, leave that with them, and then within 5 to 7 days after you fill that out, you'll put at the address that you are moving into. So that's pretty simple. The first thing you're going to want to do is do that.
Excellent. So we come in, you can either go online or you can come inside, get the change of address form. And then once you do that, what's the process look like from there, behind the scenes, and also what's coming up next for the person moving in the home?
Okay. You need to determine when your new house, if you move into older Midland, a lot of times those houses are still what we call house delivery, where the mailman actually comes to your front door, drops mail off in a mailbox. Or occasionally there'll be a curbside box out on the street. There's still some of that here in Midland too, that you'll get your mail in. So you need to determine that first. Where do you get your mail? If that's the case, then there's really nothing else you need to do. Just wait on that mail to show up. If you see the mailman out there working, stop and introduce yourself to him and tell him who you are, where you moved to. That just helps that process, so we know for sure that we're delivering the right mail to the right people. If that's not the case and you have a neighborhood box unit out on the curb, where the neighborhood comes to get your mail, which all your newer Midland, all your newer additions, the last 10 or 12 years, that's what they're going to. You really don't have a choice in that. That's just the way you get your mail. So find that. I know in some of the stuff out north of town, you may have a whole development that may have 14 or 15 of those things lined up on a street. It may be a few blocks from your house. So you need to kind of determine where that unit is and just ask a neighbor, or a lot of times a realtor themselves will know, kind of where you get your mail. So when you determine that is where you get your mail, you need to go back into the post office, and you'll need to bring a photo ID and a proof of purchase, a deed, or something that states that you have purchased that house, and start the process to get your new mailbox key for that unit. And there's a form you fill out when you go in there. And that's, again, pretty seamless too, just as long as you have that identification and that proof of purchase, or a rental agreement. If you've rented a home, then bring the rental agreement. And that's really all you need to do to start that process. And then usually 2 to 4 days later, after you do that, your mailbox key will wind up on your front porch. And we'll send someone out there to change out that lock and tell you where the unit is, what number of, your unit, because those units are numbered in the front from 1 to 15 usually. And we'll tell you what unit is your, where you get your mail. And we'll call you and let you know what we've done with the key. And, we can either leave it at your front door, or you can go back to the post office and pick it up if that's what you prefer. So we'll do that, whatever you prefer. And then again, just wait for that change of address to start, in order, and you'll be getting your mail. Now, something else you want to do is, if you get the other people's mail, and that does happen from time to time, with a lot of new carriers in town, and sometimes they're leaving mail that's not yours. And I know it's frustrating on your part to have to deal with that, but the best thing you can do is just write on that piece of mail, not at this address, either clip it back on your mailbox or put it back in the outgoing mail slot that is in those neighborhood box units. And that process, I know it can get aggravating, but just work with us if you can. Be patient with us, and we'll eventually figure it out that person no longer lives there. Okay.
Excellent. I think that sums it up pretty well there. So the first thing you need to do is a change of address. When you do your change of address, does that actually stop your mail at your old address? And then will y'all hold it, or how does that process work?
In a perfect world, yes, it does. However, it's still up to us as the individual carrier to know when to forward that mail. And there's processes we go in internally that we put in place to keep that mail from showing up. But again, it's not seamless. As we've got brand new people that are coming onto the job, sometimes they don't understand that process either. And so it's up to us veterans to kind of educate them on what to do.
So it sounds like I need to be, it's good to know who's carrying your mail, it sounds like, and then you can just basically tell them, hey, and I'm sure they might see a sign in your yard or whatever else, but it's like, hey, we're getting ready to sell our house, or hey, we just sold our house, when you see them, and just kind of remind them, and then they'll know to put your mail away. And then once that card and everything hits, then hopefully it will get forwarded to your new address, right? Is what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, even let the guy know before where you lived at before, that you're moving, because again, that triggers him. If he makes eye contact with you, then it's just something about that helps us know what to do. Now we get notification when you do that change of address, but it's not a seamless process, for that to automatically get forwarded, if that makes sense to you. Most time it works out fine, but occasionally there is an issue with that, and I understand that.
That makes total sense, which is kind of why I want to do this. I want to get this information out to people. The next question I have for you is, often what we do as realtors and in this process, which I usually tell folks not to do, is whenever we give the keys to the new owner, they'll also give them the old mail key. I don't know if that's okay or not. I always tell my clients, don't do that, because I'm like, you want to make sure your mail gets stopped at your old address. You want to make sure you put in the form, and then you want to make sure you get your own box, and then, then your mail gets forwarded. So can you tell us the truth of what I just said?
Well, I mean, it's fine to pass those keys along. There's nothing illegal or nothing. I guess, but I'm like you. I would tell that new customer moving in, I would want to be the only one that has a key to my mailbox, because what happens is we issue 3 keys with that lock. When we change out that brand new lock, you can get 3 brand new keys, and so that's the only keys that's going to work that lock. Okay. Now, if the key is passed down to you and you only get one of those, then it's possible that former owner, and not that they're going to do it not going to do it, but they do have access to your mailbox. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so it is good. I really recommend, like you said, to go ahead and tell them to go through the process and get brand new keys for that lock. That way, they're the only ones that can get into that mailbox.
Yeah. So I think the key to that is, number one, you go through the process that it needs to go through. And then you said, which on the new locks y'all put on, you give 3 keys, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then if you only get 1 key, you might not get the other 2 keys. So you always want to make sure you get 3 keys with the locks, with your new box or whatever else.
Exactly.
So that's good. That's good
And if
info.
you do happen to lose those keys for whatever, you can come in and get another set of keys. It's going to cost you $25 if it's a replacement key where you've lost it. Okay, that's something else we might want to educate people on. So I recommend that when I give them 3 new keys, split those keys up on different key rings or something, so that way if you do happen to lose one, then you do have a backup or a couple of backups. And you can even actually have those keys duplicated if you want to at a locksmith. It's just a cabinet lock key. There's nothing what's the word?
Proprietary.
Yeah, thank you, yeah, that word about those keys. So you can have those duplicated. If you need more than 3, then that's up to you to get those made. But a cabinet, a locksmith can make those keys for you as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good information. I didn't know a locksmith could actually make those keys, so that's good too. The next question I had is, how do I know which post office to go to? Okay,
that's a good question. If your zip code is either 01 or 06, okay, 01 is all city, 06 is kind of the rural area, but that's all worked out at the downtown station at 100 East Wall, okay, the downtown post office. That's the main office. If your zip code, however, is 03, 05, or 07, then that is all out of Claydesta Post Office, which is at 612 Air Park Road, over by Claydesta, right off of Big Spring Street there in the Claydesta area. So that's how you'll know.
Perfect.
Where to go.
Excellent. And then to go back to what you originally said about mail being delivered directly to the house, the way you'll know if you do move into a new house and maybe your realtor doesn't know or someone doesn't know, obviously you can ask your neighbors, but I guess the way to know if it's delivered to your house is if you have a mailbox in front of your house, or if a mailbox is actually on the house, maybe.
Yeah. It'll either be hanging on the house close, by the front porch, or there'll be a curbside box that'll be located. I know a lot of those street College over just west of the college on Stutz, Metz, Auburn over there. A lot of that is still curbside delivery. So it's kind of scattered all over town how they've done that. There's no really rhyme or reason to it. You just have to kind of feel that out. Obviously, you can always just catch a mailman if you see them out. We're pretty visible if you'll pay attention, and you can find one of us. Even if it's not your mailman, if you can just find one in the area, then they can generally tell you, do I need to get a key to the mailbox, or what do I need to do?
Excellent.
So anything probably outside the loop and stuff like that is probably all going to be in those neighborhood box units. But a lot of the stuff inside the loop is real haphazard a lot of times the way they've done that. So.
Excellent. The last question would be, what maybe something that I didn't ask that you think people listening to this video, they need to know about the post office, or information that you feel is important that people just need to know?
I think we pretty much covered all that. I shouldn't have to tell people this, but treat us with respect and give us a chance. Sometimes we get a bad rap, I know, because you move into a house, all of a sudden you get this mail that's not yours, that the former owner, maybe they did do a change of address. Maybe they just up and moved, and that happens sometimes, and we don't know. We just see this new name start showing up, and we think, well, maybe someone's moved into that house with that other tenant. And so, we're kind of at a loss sometimes until we know. So, give us a chance, explain to us what's going on in your household. I mean, you don't have to give us details, but say, or, if someone does move in with you for a period of time, let us know that there's a new name going to be getting mail there. You can leave us a note in the mailbox saying, this name is also going to be getting mail here. Just so that we know kind of what's going on. And I was going to back up and tell you another thing. You may be frustrated when you come to the post office to try to get your mailbox key, and you think, well, why do I need all this identification to prove that I bought that house? Well, it's to protect you as well. We don't want someone coming in, and it does happen, to try to falsify where they're moving to so they can get someone else's mail. It doesn't happen very much, but it can and does happen. People trying to steal other people's mail. So that's why we ask for that identification to prove, we're trying to protect you. It's not that we want all this information. We just need to protect y'all, because you'd be surprised what's out there in the world that people are trying to, people will try to get someone else's mail, especially if they know a situation's coming up, or maybe there's a check coming in that they know they're coming. You'd be surprised what happens. So.
Yeah, I see a lot of crazy stuff as well. So that's
I bet you
really good. Really good information. Well, Mr. Hunt, I appreciate you what you do for our community, number one, and then appreciate you for just coming on and sharing your knowledge and expertise. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this video.